this is guitarist Jimmy Haynes, and welcome back. Today's video is all about tuning, what I consider the 5 T's of music, and this is definitely probably one of the most important. I guess I've read over the past years different articles and read instructional books where they talk about 3 of the T's, which is tone, timing, and taste. But tuning is definitely probably the most important, and technique would be the 5th, coming in last but not least. So let's today look at the tuning the guitar, and I appreciate all the comments on the videos so far, and I got a lot of requests out there, and I'm going to get to them as soon as we can. I have not forgotten about them. It's just that this channel was devoted for the study of the acoustic guitar, and now I want to go back to basics and start that study with one of the most important aspects of it, and that's tuning the instrument. So this lesson here will be for the beginner, intermediate, and advanced players. So hopefully there'll be some techniques here that will be available to you that will be of some interest. So let's start with our first tuner today, our electronic tuner. And I'm going to get rid of this cable just for a second. The first tuner I have today is what we call an electronic clip-on style. You can see it there. And if you don't already have one of these, I suggest that you could possibly stop the video now and go to jimmyhaynesmusic.com and order one online. They have them available there. Any electronic clip-on style tuner will work. Let's turn it on. Now I'm going to bring the guitar a little closer to you. What we have here is shown on the display in the red, means it's flat. And I'll strike the first string of our guitar, E, high E string, and see where we're at on our tuning. Well, I happen to have that one right on it. And when you see that blue there in the middle, where it's solid, then you know you're correct. And what I'm doing down here on the right hand is I'm just placing the pick on the string and letting it rest there, and then pluck down to make that note. I'm not trying to do it free-handed where I'm just anything like that. I'm just rest it right there. That way you get a good clean sound and you don't get any overtones from your other strings. Let's look at that tuner again. Our second string, B. Now that there shows I'm a little flat. I recently tuned this guitar before I started the video, and this tuner, I'll bring it up to where it shows it's in pitch. But I will tell you, I'll make a G chord now, and if you listen to that note is off. A lot of times I will tune a B string just a little flat to compensate for the guitar itself. These old guitars, sometimes the intonation they're not perfect on them, and this guitar yet has to be set up. So, but for demonstration purposes, we'll tune it according to the tuner. Now you may have seen that the dial there has jumped up into the green a little bit, and if I turn my tuner up, you see more of that green. That means you're sharp on your tuning, and in that case you don't want to bring your tuning back down just to the note. That gives you actually a false reading. Although it says it's correct there, what happens is you don't have enough tension on your tuning gears in the back. So what you want to do is bring the note further down, just a little bit further than what it needs. We'll detune it. And now we'll bring it up to the desired pitch. And by doing this, we're adding tension to the string, the tuner, and this will hold in tune a lot better. I'll try it once more. Going down, then back up. Alright, we're going to leave it right there for just a second. And we're going to move on to the third string, G. That's what that sounds like. There we go. Fourth string, D. Bring it up ever so slightly. Small increments. There we go. Fifth string, A. Alright, we'll leave it there. 6, low E. Wants to jump above. Let's once more. Let's see what that sounds like with a G chord. It's not too far off, but what I tell you is these tuners are designed to give you perfect pitch. But the trouble is our ears do not hear perfect pitch. So I use this, and I tell people to use this as a reference to find those pitches. And I'll explain more of that later in detail as we move on to other techniques. But again, the tuner, if you're a beginner, just starting out playing the guitar, every day you want to tune before you play the guitar. And this is a good way to get close in tune. You know, spend a half hour if it takes that long to get it where that needle is sitting right there in the middle. Okay, and then what this is doing is training your ear. That way you'll hear and use the device as a reference to hear what those pitches should sound like. So let's move on to number 2. Conserve your batteries. Option 2. I always say probably for the intermediate player. It looks very similar, doesn't it? It's still a clip-on. But I will tell you, it's quite different. This is what we consider a strobe tuner. It no longer has a needle that moves back and forth, sharp or flat. It has what I refer to as like a wheel. And I'm pretty close in tune right there. But for the intermediate player, you might want to start looking at these strobe tuners. They are more accurate. The price point being $30 for a electronic tuner, standard clip-on, and these strobe tuners here, this particular one made by Peterson, is about $80. Well worth the money to get you a little bit more accurately in tune. So for the intermediate player, let's move on to tuning with the strobe. And what I'm going to do now is go down here to the 12th fret, and instead of playing my string open, which we see that dial's not moving, not very little, so we're pretty close to tune. But I'm going to play, what I'm going to do here is playing a harmonic. Boy, you see that's perfect, isn't it? Harmonics, tuning by harmonics. They are not notes that you play fretted necessarily. That's what a note sounds like, fretted at the 12th fret. Harmonics are bell-like tones, and in order to play one, if you use the very pad of your finger and just slightly touch that string and pluck with the pick and pull off at the same time, you'll get that ringing. Let me turn the guitar a little bit towards you, and you can see that here I'm on the 12th fret, the double dots. And here's what they all sound like. If I go back to my tuner now, I'm going to use that 12th fret. You can see it's pretty close right there. Let's move on to the B. Yep, not bad at all. I'll buy that. Our third G. Now you notice that moving a little bit right there? I'll detune it just a little bit and try to get that thing to stop. There's the difference between the electronic and the strobe. It's slight, subtle, very subtle, but it's enough you can hear the difference to a trained ear. Let's move on to the fourth. It's pretty good. The fifth, A string. Now here's a big difference, isn't it, between the electronic and the strobe. I'll detune that. And the further I'm out of tune, if I bring this A string down, say maybe even a half step or a whole step, you see how fast that wheel moves? The closer you get to in tune, the slower. I went too far. Sorry, it wasn't far enough, was I? I must have had that thing way down there. Now, there we're getting it. Let's leave it there for now. Then I'm going to show you another technique here in a minute anyway. Here's our E string. There it is. Now for the intermediate player, this is a good way to go. This just enhances your ear training. Using the strobe is certainly more accurate than any regular electronic tuner, but it takes some doing. And like I said before, if you spend a half hour a day with this device before you play your guitar, you'll notice a huge difference in your ear training and listening to pitches. But the trouble with both of these tuners is they require batteries. Therefore, a few years back, many years back, I started tuning with what I call a tuning fork. This is an A tuning fork with a 440 Hertz reference. And you can see that there. Got the little ball on the end of it. I believe these are less than $12. to the advanced player, or heading in that direction, this is the best way to train your ear for perfect pitch. And I highly recommend learning to tune with one of these. Let's listen to our G chord on the last tuning we did with the Strobe Tuner. I tell you what, it's a little closer in tune than what the electronic was. But I can still hear a big difference. And yet it's still not in tune, technically. At least with not my ears. So what we're going to do now is move to the technique of the tuning fork. And I want to talk about, real quick, about some more harmonics we're going to be using. And if you look at the 5th fret of your guitar, there's a dot right there on most of them. And here at the 7th. And both of these are harmonics. Again at the 12th. There's the double dots. And now what we're going to do is to double check our tuning with the strobe. We're going to start with our harmonic on the 5th fret of the 6th string, which is an A note, against the 5th string of the 7th fret, which happens to be an E note. And they sound pretty close in harmony, don't they? And we'll repeat this process again the next strings below. You can hear that's pretty close. Again with the 4th string of the 5th fret and the 3rd string of the 7th. And what I usually do down here to check the rest of them is I grab the B note on the 4th fret of the 3rd string against the open beat. And then I'll move on to the E note, which is fretted on the 5th fret of the 2nd string against the open. Now, according to that, our Strobe Tuner got us pretty accurate, didn't it? But still, when I play my G chord, it's not correct. Our ears don't hear that perfect pitch. It sounds confusing. So what we do is we strive now to tune our instrument with itself. Each individual string tuned with one another, and you'll get an instrument closer to in harmony in your tuning. So let's look at the tuning fork. The way these are used, if you have not already got one, is you tap on the edge of the fork on a hard surface, your kneecap, the ball end on the bridge. And what that's doing is giving you an A reference. But how do we check that with the guitar? Let's move back here to our 7th fret of the guitar. And we're looking at the 4th string now. There's a A note right there. In order to be accurate, let's do the harmony, or the harmonic for it. So we're working on that to get that to ring out loud as we can. Tap the fork. And you hear the same pitch. It's identical. Let's listen to it if I detune it. You hear a substantial difference there. And what you have is a beating effect that happens because you have two notes trying to occupy the same space. Once more, and let's tune up to that A. And when it gets there, you can hear the one note now ringing. I think when I first got one of these tuning forks, I spent the first 3 months tuning with it every day, and I probably would spend at least an hour every time I picked the guitar up tuning with it and detuning and tuning it back just to train my ear to that pitch. So now we have a D string perfectly in tune with our fork, which is an A reference. And now what I do, I usually go through, start right there and tune the next string with it. Now you hear it, we're out of tune. So what I'm going to do is bring my G string down till I hear a harmony. Sounds a little flat yet. There it is. Let's listen to the harmony now. I don't think you get any closer than that. Another way to check it, if I just play the G note on the D string, 5th fret, against the open, there I have them perfectly in tune with one another. So now let's move on to the B string. What I do here is, a lot of times I just play the open strings and listen for the harmony. It should make a chord voicing. Now let's check it against our B note on the G string, because this string now is open, or tuned with our open D string. So we'll check it against the B. Sounds like the same pitch to me. Now I'll double check it with my chord. I like the sound of that. Let's move on to the E string. Not quite there. Now I know what that note's supposed to sound like, but again we'll reference it with the E noted on the 2nd string of the 5th fret. It's the same note. Sounds good in the chord. Now I have the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th string tuned, but I have them tuned with each the string next to it, so it's in perfect harmony. Now let's look at the A string, our 5th, and see what that's supposed to sound like. It's awful close, but what I'm going to do now is detune it just a little bit, and then bring it up. And here again, I'm working on the 5th string. It's the only one I'm turning. right there. Again, we're going to check it. Pretty close. Let's check it our other way with the harmonics. That's accurate right there. And last but certainly not least, our low E string. The first thing I like to do is just check it against my high. There's your high and low. And since we know the high is in tune, let's drop the low. Let's drop it quite a bit. Now you can hear the difference. There we go. Now let's hear it against the fretted note on the 5th fret of our E string, which is an A note with our open A. We know the A is correct. Yeah, sounds right in tune. We'll check it with the harmonics. Sounds good. Last, what I'll do is make my G chord. And at this point, I'm going to make some minor adjustments yet again. I like the sound of the 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st, but the fretted note now on the 3rd fret of the E string, it sounds awful close, don't it? It's just off ever so slightly. So I'm going to bring that down a little bit and try it once more. And it sounds a little flat. And if I raise that string a little bit and hear that pitch move up, then it gets it closer to it. So I'm going to bring it up just a little bit. I went too far. There it is. Here's our C chord. Our D chord. Now our tuning is tuned, each string is tuned with itself, or with the next one, and now the guitar is naturally a lot more accurately in tune. Instead of using an electronic tuner, we'll get you on perfect pitch, but like I said, our ears don't hear that. It's better to have the guitar tuned with itself in checking the harmonies, the harmonics. Then you know it's correct. Some guitars will probably need some setup work. I said before in the beginning that intonation sometimes plays a factor. If the bridge is not set and the saddle is not set correct, you'll have a hard time tuning any instrument. But your local repair guy should take care of that for you. And if you're having trouble finding one, see the Jimmy Haynes Music Shop, because we have a guy that we use and that can set up, does wonders for guitars. Anyway, that's the lesson today. Tuning, one of the most important factors of music. So remember, we have our electronic tuner for the beginner and intermediate level. Take a step up to the Strobe Tuner and try that. And then the advanced player is on their way to the tuning fork, and that will really tune your ear to a precise. And it takes years of practice to do it, but you get better and better with it every day. So thanks for watching, and if you like this video, please comment below, and if it was helpful for you, and if you think it would be helpful for other people, please share it with them. See me at the Jimmy Haynes Guitar YouTube channel, and subscribe to the channel for further videos coming up. And thanks again for watching. We'll see you later. Bye.